All of the people were drowned beneath the waters. The Great Mystery sat on top of that mountain and decided to make things all over again. He called to the birds, who had survived by flying up into the air, to help him. Dive down beneath the water and bring up some dirt. So the birds began to try to do as the Great Mystery asked. The one who succeeded in bringing up some dirt was Chickadee. From that dirt, a new earth was made and placed on the back of the big turtle. Then from that dirt, new people were made. Chapter 1. Sacajawea. St. Louis, Louisiana Territory, 1811. The Camp by the River. Firstborn son, how has your day been? I remember what it was like when I was a child of 7 winters such as you. Everything around me was exciting, though our lives were much simpler in our mountains than here in this great city of St. Louis. I still find this place confusing. I am glad that we have your good uncle, Captain Clark, to watch over us, while you and your father, Charbonneau, and I are here as guests in his great house. But now that your busy day is over, perhaps you would like to hear a story? What story shall I tell? Ah, that story. The one I told you I would share with you only once we were here in the house of your red-haired uncle, so that he could help me tell it. It is a story too big for just one person to tell, this story of our long journey. All right, then. I will begin in the place where I began, there near the 3 rivers, at the foot of the great mountains that divide the sky. We were poor people. That is how it was then, my son. We were not as poor as our cousins who lived farther downriver and toward the direction of the sunset. They were so poor that they had no horses at all. All of the other tribes called them walkers. At least we had horses. We were poor because we had no guns, as did the Atsina and Siksika, as did the other nations who lived close to the French and English and American traders. Those other nations, especially the Pakis, the Blackfeet, they drove us off the plains and up into the mountains with their guns. But poor as we were, we still had horses. We cared for our horses well. Our horses were like members of our families. With horses, our young men could go back down the mountain and slip out onto the plains to hunt the buffalo. They always had to be on the lookout for enemies, but our horses were swift and our scouts were alert. On the plains, you can see enemies coming from far away and escape. It is harder to see far away when you are in the mountains. So we discovered that day. The day started off as a good day. Our village was camped at the place where the 3 rivers join. The sun shone on the water as it rippled and flowed. I remember finding a little stick that was the shape of a canoe. I dropped it into the main river and watched as it floated away. "River," I said, "where are you going in such a hurry? What would it be like to float along with you?" I did not know how soon I would find out. It was the moon when the berries are ripe. That is why my best friend and I were away from the camp, a short distance downstream from the others. There were berry bushes there. We were picking berries happily and singing the picking song our children sometimes sing. You know that song. "This berry is large, I'll put it in my basket. This berry is small, I'll put it in my mouth." That day, as I remember, we had probably put more berries into our mouths than into our baskets. Our faces and fingers were as red as blood from